Yo, 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 what it do? It's your boy Yellow the Poet.
Flat what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Princess Jasmine.
It's your boy Lex.
And I'm me. Who are you? Thank you for joining us this Saturday afternoon. Our topic is belief versus faith. Are they one and the same, or are they different?
Inquiring minds want to know. So, I'll just start off like this. According to the experts, which is debatable to me, but according to the experts, when you look at religion, religion is based on the text, the doctrines, the things of that nature that are written for people to read in order for them to gain that faith, which they're stating that faith is about your belief in whomever, your God, your Allah, Jesus, like whomever these deities are.
Well, it's actually a trust. Faith, the defining definition of trust is a confidence or trust in a people, a thing, or a concept. So it doesn't make it true, but it's your truth, but it's not the end all be all truth.
Mm-hmm.
So actually belief comes before faith.
Yeah, because it's that when you have that belief, it's kind of like that inner voice that basically tells you, like when you're in a some people only use it when they're in this particular situation. So that situation being the part, meaning like, for example, if you really want something really bad, then you'll display greatness of faith, like, you know, I really hope this, or I really want that, or I really feel like this. But that's that inner voice, that's that inner person that you're talking to, which is known as the subconscious.
Well, all abstract knowledge is based on belief.
Mm-hmm.
So faith is related to belief because it supplies conviction.
Right.
That the belief is true. So, and truth is actually different from facts.
True that.
So,
Truth can be defined individually as whatever your concrete text or concrete documentations or your experiences, that will be your truth. We can't put your truth with everybody's truth unless everybody has come up with the same concept.
well, truth is apparently the accepted outcome.
Mm-hmm.
While while facts is a proven truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, just because it's your truth doesn't mean it's facts.
Right. That's why I said it.
Yeah,
That's why I said that.
so it's a bit confusing for a bit, but when you really say it in your head, you kind of get it. Truth is only one's basically truth is only one's belief,
Mm-hmm.
whereas facts is a proven truth. Facts are truth, whereas truth is not always facts.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you kind of get that.
That actually makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Especially when you break it down the way that I was just stating, because when you have facts, that is information or knowledge that can actually be proven beyond the shadow of a doubt. So when you're looking at truth is, like I stated before, is based on one's own experience, one's own perceptions, one's own gathering of documents, text, knowledge, and things of that nature. So it's basically based on whatever your own findings are. Pretty much the same thing that scientists do.
Really, my phone. Well, scientists definitely base all of their findings on facts, right? Because they actually have the evidence to prove things.
Exactly.
Which is why when people say scientists aren't telling the truth, well, if they have actual evidence proving that it's facts, just because it's something that you don't want to believe doesn't make it false.
Exactly.
I think the language is thrown off because I think even in science there's a lot that science that doesn't necessarily take as true, but they say could because later on in the future it could be debunked and looked at as a false. But I think it's the reason that scientists use words like miscalculation or only like 99%. Sure.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is why truth and fact are two different things. Truth is not fact.
Right.
It's not. Period. It's not. Facts are a proven truth. That's the definition of fact. Fact is a proven truth. Indisputable. So, if a scientist says, the Earth's soil is this amount age, and they have proof of that. Whether you want it to believe that it's truth or not, it doesn't change the fact that it's a fact. Period.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want to make it your truth, don't make it false.
Exactly.
So that's the difference between which belief and faith. You can believe in something all day long. Within your heart of hearts, what you feel you know. Whereas faith is a hope, a wish, a kind of having confidence that something is going to have a certain outcome.
Yeah.
So belief and faith are not the same.
No. Not that one.
Faith is actually a synonym of belief. So yeah.
They both correlate from my interpretation.
Well,
of it,
yeah,
like,
that's what
equally,
it's saying.
but which one do y'all think is stronger?
Belief or faith? For me, it's belief.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think belief is
I agree
stronger.
with that too.
Why?
Because, well, first off, you got to think about where does belief start. Belief starts within. So, if
You're going to trust yourself more
Right.
than you're going to trust.
right,
Put your
Trust
trust in
outside.
something,
but that's for the majority of the people. I know that we have those people that trust more in the outside source than
But not
they do their
necessarily
own.
that I would believe myself more than the outside object. Because I can ask a robot. I trust GPS every day, but that's to me a faith that this GPS,
that GPS
will
going
work.
to get you where you're going.
Right, but I still trust the GPS more than myself. I have faith in the GPS more than faith in myself.
So you don't have belief in
But-
yourself, but you have faith in the GPS.
But
I know I didn't say anything about belief.
But
I said,
hold on to.
But they coincide.
yeah, but I didn't include belief in that.
Yeah,
I
but
said-
hold on, because when you think about it, you also have to think about the experiences too. Were you ever taught like these old school, especially like the natives, the Mayans, the Aztecs, like these old school directional techniques that they used to use in order to get them to places where they didn't know about? So that experience will also help
like
you.
which direction the sun
Right.
set, let you know the direction
Right.
you're going in. that
Right.
type of
So
thing.
if you were taught these things, then and you were utilizing them on the regular, and like for example, when animals know which direction the wind is going in, so they know that if there's a fire, let me run this way because I'm running actually away from it, versus what some of them can see, because like for snakes, they can't see. So everything is based off of sensory. So if we as humans were taught some of these same things, then you may rely on GPS for some things, but you may trust your instincts more so.
I do.
So a part of your experiences does play a part in this.
Because I feel like when you're using a GPS at the same time, you do still have a bit of belief, because if the GPS is taking you somewhere that you've never been before, and you like may slightly know the direction you're going a little bit, of course everybody takes a look at first, see where they're heading and everything like that. When you're heading that way, You get a gut feeling. If the GPS give you a wrong turn or something, you get a gut feeling, I don't think this is the right way.
So to me, it's like you believe it may be incorrect, but the faith is still in the GPS. To me, I believe that was
Yeah, but
why
which
I
one
think-
do you follow? Do
I
you
think
follow
faith
the
is
belief
strong.
within yourself, or do you follow the faith?
I think faith is strong. In my own perception, I think faith is stronger
Okay.
because I think it starts off with trusting the outside objects, and then that leads me to believe whatever I interpret from the outside objects. But doing the opposite is kind of what I want to do. I want to look at the end goal and work backwards because
That's what you've always done.
I think it's I think it's way smarter to do that, y'all. So we look at something, look at the goal, and then work backwards from it instead of trying
Backwards
to look
way
towards the goal and work
backwards.
to it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but at the same time too,
No shade.
it also plays a role in creativity in one's own style, in one's own growth pattern. To look at it the way that you're looking at it, because the way that we're looking at it is kind of like a way a lot of people would look at it. It's come from inside out, where yours is coming from outside in. So whatever, if I'm hearing this correctly, whatever is coming from the outside, you're waiting for the end result first before
I make
you
it
actually
believe.
taking that in.
Right, exactly, and true enough. That's true.
I said backwards.
I don't think that's backwards. It's a left hand thing. Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You've always did that.
that.
You've always done that. So it doesn't surprise me that you would say that. That's not shock. I kind of knew you were gonna do that, but you know.
So also like one of the things that I've learned is, like, for example, a lot of people that are of a particular sect, I'll put it that way, religious sect, like some of them believe that Allah is the moon god. People believe that because of the doctrine that Jesus walked the earth, and that there was a lot of these things, these current or events that happen and things that are still
Moses
happening
parted the
today.
sea,
Right.
and Noah built the
But
ark, and
when you research the information and you learn a lot of things from like archaeologists and scientists, and they're all pretty much on the same page. It's stated directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak, is that they honestly have no proof of Jesus walking the earth, period. And they look at many facets depending on the origin of the people, the language of the people, the doctrines that were left behind through like hieroglyphics and things of that nature. They look at all of these things to come to a consensus that there are many moon gods and many moon goddesses.
Yes.
Like even in the doctrine, it stated that there was 150 prophets long before the name of Jesus was even mentioned, and the latest one, which was right before Jesus' name, they stated that his name was covered up, which was Thoth. They stated that his name was covered up. So when you find out this type of information, and they're stating that Michelangelo or who was it?
Leonardo da Vinci
painted the face in order to put a face with the name for Jesus. So when you find out,
looks like him.
pretty much. But when you find out this type of information, then how are you armed to continuously state that this is something that I accept as my belief when you have proven knowledge from outside sources that this information is false?
Well, I never, for me, growing up, age 7, and you get to go to that first day of church, you know, at the time at 7, you don't really know what that is or what you're about to walk into. You just know that it's a place your grandparents go to and you want to go.
Right.
So, I went several times and never got anything out of it.
Right.
Because to me, the person that was standing up there talking, I couldn't relate to a damn thing he was saying.
Right.
And it was just boring to me. And then the fact that you put out that plate, that collection plate, where you want people to give you money, didn't understand that either. I was like, okay, from what I was told about church, it was supposed to be a place where you go to connect higher to God, right? So why does God need money? That's the question that I asked myself at 7. Why does God need money? If God is the all-knowing, all-seeing, why does he need money?
Right.
Is this money? This money is going to God. Why? I just didn't understand.
How is he actually collecting it?
Well, no, I got who was collecting it, but
No.
how are you giving it to
How is
him?
God collecting it?
Right. So I just was like, okay, this. And there would always be this little voice inside of me that would tell me every single time I would walk through that door, you're not supposed to be in here. You're not supposed to be in here. At 7, you don't know what that voice is. You don't know. You just know, okay, I'm hearing this voice as a child. You're not sure if it's you or is there a little person inside of you that said, who is that? Like, but you're just hearing that.
Right.
You're not supposed to be in here. And then I finally, said, and the communion thing, that whole thing where you go and you walk down and you eating the flesh and drinking the blood. Like, huh? It's like you, as a kid, you hear, like, you doing what? I'm eating the what? I'm drinking the what? Like, so, but then when you finally eat it, take out potato chip and grape juice, so hello. Like, what is with these
Like,
people telling these stories?
Like,
why?
I'm not a vampire. Why would I be eating flesh?
Well, at 7, I didn't know. Like, what the heck is happening here? But, I just finally told my girlfriend, I don't want to go anymore. And of course, they kind of got upset about it, but they wanted to know why. And I just was like, I don't. None of that makes sense to me. None of that I agree. It's like what that person was standing up there talking about was nothing, I felt. And then when my mother decided she wanted to join the Jehovah's Witness and we go to study with them, and I'm sitting around and I'm listening to these people talk, and they say that, if you're not one of us, you're not getting into the whole heaven. You're not going to be a part of the whole 144,000 chosen. That's go. And again, that voice inside me was like, that's not true, and you really shouldn't be listening to this. Again, okay, who is this voice? Is there a person? Like, who is this voice? It's like, and then I would ask my mom questions, like, because you hear that, okay, my grandmother used to say, God forgives you 77 times a day. Like, huh? And then my mom, she's like, you're forgiven. God forgives everyone's sins if you ask. So I remember looking at her and I said, even people that kill people, or even people that hurt children? And she's like, yes. So I'm thinking, that took me back to, okay, if that's the case, all the blame that Lucifer gets is crap. Because one of the cosmic universal rules, if you all did research or anything like that, you know that free will cannot be tampered with. Yes, you can be tempted, but at the end of the day, you have the right to say yay or nay.
Right.
Nobody can force you
Right.
into doing anything, not even Lucifer. So, all these things that he gets blamed for making people do, that was crap because these people wanted to do it because that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, because he was known as a persuasive God, not as a terrorist or
The
murderer,
trickster,
somebody who's
you know.
forcing you to do something.
But at the end of the day, that blame falls on you if you chose to do it or
Right.
accept it or whatever. That blame fell on you, and
Right.
since you're going to be forgiven for it anyway,
Right, then it's like, what difference does it make if you do it?
Right.
But-
which was the concept of right and wrong. Remember when you said that? Why is that
Yeah.
a concept? Which makes sense
Mhm.
if you're going to be forgiven
Right.
simply by asking.
Mhm.
Why do we lock people up? Why can't that person just go to the court and say, I'm sorry, I put a bomb in this place and killed up,
And just
20, 30 people.
Well-
I'm sorry, I repent my sin. Like, why do we have, I'm playing devil's advocate here. No pun intended. But I'm just saying, why do we
Mhm.
have that? Like, what is happening here?
Well,
Like,
the only thing that I can come to a conclusion about that is the fact that yes, there is supposed to be some quote unquote form of discipline, but it's questionable because then I go back to the things that I've learned, like if, just like you stated, if everybody or if all is forgiven, then why do we even bother to worry about right and wrong? Why do we?
that comment funny.
what did it say? What's the comment?
No, he said it's better to do something and not know it's wrong than just do it and. Like they know you have bad teeth, but they it's how they make money.
Right, Dre.
They prefer you to have bad teeth.
What's up, Dre? How you doing?
Hey.
Man?
But it's crazy because you have wars started about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
If people actually sat down and talked about it, I don't care what your different faiths are, beliefs are. If you sat down and actually talked and discussed what you read, I mean, I blew my mother away when I told her, well, hey, Mom, the Bible is nothing but a book of, the same story written in a different form with a different name at the top.
Right. Well,
Her first words was, who told you that? Like, come on, lady, you read it. Don't tell me you didn't see that.
According to doctrine, this is what I learned about the Bible. The scientists and archaeologists came together and they read the Bible and they broke it down from the beginning to the end. From, Genesis to Revelations, they broke it down. And what they've come to conclusion is that the Bible is not something that we were supposed to have faith or belief in. It was something that we were supposed to learn about.
What not to do.
We were supposed to learn about during that time what each of the men and the women went through during that time. So we were supposed to learn from their mistakes in order to
That's
make
not
sure
to
we're
say
not.
what not to do.
Right. So we were supposed to learn from their
Basically,
mistakes.
as a book of instructions.
Well, no,
This
it's
is what
actually,
you don't want to
It's
repeat.
actually what they call footnotes because on the Mayans wall of
The calendar.
artifacts. No, they're not wall of artifacts, not the artifacts. The hieroglyphics on the Mayans wall of hieroglyphics. They have this book. It was supposed to be about footnotes. And when you break down what book they're talking about, because it lists Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy, it lists the book of footnotes and who wrote each footnote. Then it also talks about what's known as the Little Book. The Little Book, which was inside of this big book, before it became the Bible, it was called the Tanakh.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Tanakh was written, it was a book of nothing but like the same thing that the the people that do the news, when they go back and they try to find out different things and see what each person has done, and then they bring it back and say that this is the news, that's what these people were doing.
Which is why all the stories sound similar,
And the
but
little
with
book-
different names at the top.
Right. And the little book is actually the Quran. That's what it is. The little book is called the Quran. Is where they took out what is known as the Suhuf pages, and people who have read the Quran, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They took out the Suhuf pages from the little book and changed it from the Tanakh to the Bible and forced people to believe in it as a book that states, hey, this is what I want y'all to believe in. Skip any and everything else that you learned about.
Oh, and that whole concept of hell? Don't even get me started on that one. Wow, guys, did you know you brought someone's
We got you, Greg.
depiction
I understood it the first
of what
time.
hell would look like from his perspective? Ooh, I said perspective. Wow. From Dante's perspective, Dante's Inferno. You might want to read that because, hello, that's what his depiction of hell was. Does hell really exist? I don't think so. I really don't.
Well, if you even go back into ND, which is near death, you go back into the experiences that the ND people have, and they bring back information from the other side to here, you can even tell that there's nothing pertaining to, there's no evidence or proof of anything related to hell.
Fire burning, you burning eternally, fire and brimstone, yada yada, blah blah blah.
And then according to the facts, according to the facts that were given, we as a people create our own hell, meaning we put ourselves
on
in
a lower
sedated
level plane.
or a sedated state of mind, a lower plane. However you want to put it, but we cause our own problems and then we look to a higher power to get us out of it.
Well, it's like you from my perspective, or shall I say from my belief, if you take guilt and all the bad that you've done with you when you're in that transition of moving on, of course you're going to be in what you would consider hell. Because it's all the wrong, which I'm assuming that's why they say you should make amends while you're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't take any of that with you when you do cross over. That way you can cross over to whatever you perceive to be your happy place.
Mm-hmm.
Until it's time for you to come back again and repeat the same thing over and over.
Well, I think
Till we get it right.
I think that also what would be important is if people learn more about the cosmic energies, karmic debt, and things of that nature, which I think you should speak more on that, the karmic debt.
This one right here.
Because he did more research
Come on,
it than I
Professor
did.
X.
I was just thinking about that while I was speaking on the religious thing, because to me, belief and faith is like ping pong with each other, and through like
Faith is a synonym of belief.
Well,
so,
yeah, to each individual, like that outside faith can affect my belief, but it's not. To me, it's nothing wrong with that. Like, and I think people kind of see a wrong in it. Like, especially as like history plays itself out because they look at the way these religions were formed. But to be honest, there is no perfect way for it. So like to justify it as wrong or right is only through the faith of one religion making that a wrong.
Which again, like you said, there's like a thin line between right.
Yeah, but this is
very thin line.
But this is that concept has been trending throughout history. That it's wrong to kill people, and yeah, to the multiple degrees, of course it's wrong to kill people. That's why you got first, second, third, and all this, or when they tried to do it. But like to justify it as an absolute wrong or a cosmic wrong is insane because to me because this gives you a karma in a sense. Like to say nothing can go past this. It can definitely happen. Like I heard a podcast dude say karma was everything that we wanted to come back, and it made so super sense to me because you can accept both sides, good and bad, and still see that as a karma, but not a positive or negative karma.
Well, and that's why you're supposed to have. There's always a balance. It's supposed to be
Because
balance.
if I take the word karma out, all I'm saying is this is what I want to come back to me. This is what I want to happen to me. And that's all it is. If I take the word karma out, and karma's kind of twisted with other people and their interpretations of it.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know how to speak at all. Like it leads to a way that people can interpret it as a whole.
Right.
I think.
But okay, let me add this to what you're saying. People talk about karma, people talk about belief, people talk about faith, and people talk about all these different types of religion. But what about purpose? Because there's a lot of people here in this planet that actually have a purpose. Well, pretty much everybody has a purpose, but you have a purpose. So how do you determine positive and negative if a person is following that purpose that they were even put here for? Because truly, not everybody knows their purpose, but you do have some that do.
So you thinking that some of the humans that kill people, that was their purpose to do so?
Some. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not saying that
there's
that
a
is
possibility.
not, you know,
You see what
like they
I'm
say,
saying? There's a
unnecessary
possibility.
evil,
Right.
or evil. Let's talk about that word.
You know,
Evil.
I'm saying that there is a possibility. You know,
No,
that
and
if this is their purpose, then how do
you say it's wrong?
How do you say
Because
it's right
it
or
was
wrong?
their,
Right.
that's what they were.
And
It's
then,
wrong.
and then how can
That's exactly what I
and then also how can the person the people on the outside say whether it's right or wrong? Because that's considered judging. And if we're not
Okay,
supposed to judge,
okay. Well, okay, here I go.
Why are we
Playing-
This is the
Open it
karma
up.
stuff that
Playing-
comes back. They wanted this to come back.
I'm playing the devil's advocate again. Okay, if you feel that way about one's purpose, what about the heinous acts that's done by people? Do you feel like that's their purpose as well? I'm talking about people who mess with children, or you know, attack women, or you know, just do heinous things. Do you feel like that's their purpose as well?
I'll put it like this. I don't feel like that the initial act that they do is their purpose. I just feel like whatever harm or harm harm itself is their purpose. I feel like harm itself is their purpose. It says, Dre said, it's funny you are talking about purpose. Once upon a time in the city of Chicago, I said they're at 35th Street bus stop, or elderly lady said to me, we thought that when you serve your purpose here on earth, then you die. Wow. That is so true. I've heard that
A lot
many
of people
times.
have that concept, and I don't know if that's necessarily true. I just feel like, honestly, I think we're put here to learn something and take it back when we do leave.
Right.
I don't like the term death, because death is like a final thing when I don't think that it is final.
Mm-hmm. That's why some people say passing, because that's what we do.
Exactly, I prefer that. Passing, when we pass, when we go on to the next realm, I'll say that. I just think we here to learn lessons. And we do come here with a purpose, and then we take it back, the information that we've learned, you know. And I think it's just something that's repeated throughout time until we get it right and can figure out how to have an actual utopia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
I agree with your beginning statement that having a purpose doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die after that or that you're going to pass away after that. I think some people, once you figure out what your purpose is, it's for you to continue doing that, and that's why you're still alive, because you're supposed to still be pursuing your purpose or doing whatever it is that is meant for you to do. That's why some people are still alive at that point, or maybe you fulfilled your purpose, and maybe you still would have some things to learn. Even so, as a human being, you would still have things to learn.
As we say, you
One of
never
those two
get too old to learn. You're no
Yeah.
matter what age you are, you're still in a learning process.
True that. Well, because for one, there's different stages in life, and each age group experiences different things in their life, so we never stop learning.
Right.
Truly, even about ourselves, we never stop learning. So for one to say, I know myself, I know this or I know that about myself, you only know up to that point. You're not finished learning because you haven't progressed to another age group in order to learn that. Like, for example, in our child stage, up until we reach the teenage stage, that's one group. We're learning so many different things about ourselves and so many different things about life at that point. Then that structures what we believe or what we have faith in once we become teenagers. Then we become teenagers up until young adult stage, and because this is all the stuff my grandmother used to break down to me. We forming our faith and our belief in what we're gonna determine to be our next phase once we reach the 20s up until we get to 30. So each stage structures our faith and our belief, whether we change it a million times, whether we keep it the same, or whether we decide that this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
But what's funny to me is I find a lot of people, they don't take that concept and carry it on into when you so-called pass over. Because the second that I pass over is a new learning stage, and I've never seen, even if you didn't exist in the other life, the fact that I know that I don't exist in the other life and come to that realization there means that I learned that I didn't exist. Which means that learning, to me...
But how do you know that's what you're going to feel?
No, what I'm saying is it could be anything, but whatever I see on the other side is a learning phase because I didn't see it before. Or at least I don't recollect seeing it here before.
That is,
which is
I
great
can
concept.
honestly tell
That's
you,
a great
when
concept.
I was
I
in-
feel you on that.
When
you understand what I'm saying? Like,
I get what you're
Yes.
saying, but when I was
Yes.
in the, what we call the in between life and what you all perceive as death, I didn't even have a recollection of Earth. I did not. And I was fully aware of where I was. But here, nothing. Nothing. No
Maybe because you didn't
recollection
know.
of, well, no,
Oh.
I don't think that. I think it's just the fact that,
One moment. No, not you. I was talking to Andre. I was telling him because he was asking who was the young adults that's sitting in today because they weren't here when we did our random questioning. So for those of you
Missed
who
my
don't know,
introduction.
this is
PJ.
my daughter, PJ, and my stepson,
Malcolm
Lex.
X, aka Malcolm Lex.
Right.
And I'm me. But yeah, I when I was in between that state of
Existence.
death, yeah, well, I did exist, just not
Right.
here.
When you were in that state of existence.
Here was just, it wasn't even a memory. It was nothing. All I know was I was where I was in that moment. That's all there was. And I was content. And I was at peace. And I was basically just chilling. Watching and surrounded by the most beautiful colors dancing around, and just I'm just leaning back like this, just like I'm just at peace until I heard the words, time to go back now.
Right.
Yeah. And I heard those words, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Back into this shell I went, which is quite uncomfortable going back into the body. It's
Oh my
really feels.
goodness.
But
I can't even imagine.
yeah. So I can honestly, with fact certainty, say when you pass over, it's not that you no longer exist. Here you no longer exist, but when you pass over, oh yeah, you still exist.
Yes, indeed.
That's what I think. Even in that other existence, the fact that there is so much that exists over there,
Mm-hmm.
that means there's something to be learned.
Exactly.
That's just by not knowing of it here, and to say that anything that is a complete stop or halt to learning, that is insane.
Right.
It's like it would defeat the purpose of coming here to me. Because like why would you have to follow a specific pattern? Like,
And it's so weird because I always was curious about that.
Mhm.
Like when we so-called die, is there something else?
Right.
Do we realize that we're in a different,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're gonna call it, realm or whatever? Are we conscious of that? And since I had that experience, I can honestly say, well, now I got the answer to at least one of my gazillions of questions, something that I questioned for the longest,
Right.
as far as that. Because you had the atheist people who say, oh no, once you die, you just die, you're just gone, you don't exist anymore.
well, no, atheists believe that. I met a lot.
You know what I'm saying? But you hear quite a
Yeah,
few
I
say
see
that.
that.
When I can honestly tell you all who do think that, wrong. And also for the whole religious fanatics who tend to think that, you're either going to go here or there,
Right.
heaven or hell, blah, blah, wrong. It's
But then again, we can't say what you can. Not even you, even with the experience you got on the other side, can say whether they go into wherever they.
no, what I'm saying, it's not just one or the other.
True.
And that's what I mean by
believe
wrong. It's not just one or the other.
What I always think, like, I always wonder, like, is it a way to come up with some form? Because like the only way to change someone's belief is to like make them see something, or to make them see a way to be able to learn past what they already know. And this algorithm that hasn't been, well, certain people got it. I feel that eventually become successful, but yeah, like certain people have this algorithm.
I don't knock anybody for what you have faith in or what you think is true. And I expect to have that same respect in return. If just because a person has a different belief or faith than yourself, doesn't make them wrong, doesn't make them your enemy, doesn't make them evil, doesn't make them, their moral compass all wiry. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that that person has a different way of seeing things as you.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. If we were meant to think and believe in the same things, we would share one big giant brain. And we don't.
Pretty much. Yeah.
We do not. Everybody forms their own faith, belief, truth off of their own personal experiences.
Mhm.
Period. It's only when you take what you think as truth and try to force another to see it your way, that's when it becomes a problem.
Mhm.
Or if because somebody is different or thinks different than you, and you want to react to them in a violent or negative way, that's when it becomes a problem. Basically, it boils down to having a mutual respect for differences. That's not hard to do.
Yeah, and it's also like the way I explained to my sister, because my sister is like knee deep in the Christian faith, and she's like, "You're gonna become a Christian," and I'm
See,
like,
like,
"Hold on."
that's
I
crazy.
said, first of all, I will never in my entire life become a Christian, and I said, truly, I don't mean this to any disrespect to anybody at all, because I don't. But I'm not gonna have someone, no matter who it is, family member, friend, foe, whoever it is, to tell me what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. That's up to me to do that.
Okay, so tell you what you're gonna believe in.
Right, and what I'm
And
right.
it's like, who are you to do that?
I told my
That's
sister,
not-
the bottom line, I told my sister, I said, look, people find their serenity or what they feel their serenity is in different ways. If we were all the same, then the world would be extremely boring. There would be no diversity
None.
whatsoever.
None. It would be like bland food, no flavor.
Exactly.
Just bland, plain, blah. Who wants that? I mean,
Pretty
come
much.
on. That's
Pretty
just
much. And
really
then it's funny because right after I talked to my sister, then my mom did the same thing. And I had to end up telling her the same thing. But after a while it gets annoying because like even now I still get a whole bunch of inboxes, I get emails, I get comments on my posts. Like people can't stop talking about.
That's because
or
they don't
stop including their
respect.
religion.
They don't respect the fact that
in the things that I'm doing, man. I've
You're
told
different.
so many people, I don't believe what you believe. Please stop sending me stuff like that. Stop putting that stuff in the forefront of what you are talking to me about, because I don't put my belief on you. I don't throw it out there in front of your face and say, hey, this is what you're supposed to believe and this is what you gotta believe in, or else we have nothing to say to each other. I don't do that.
I just ignore those things and let those people wonder why I don't ever respond to them and why we don't talk anymore.
But I think that it's important for me not to respond to them, because just like the old saying goes, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah, that's
well,
also what I say.
for me, if I tell you in a respectable way the first time,
Mm-hmm.
but you still keep trying to push it, then I don't care how I say it. Because I said it respectful the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you keep coming, that means that you don't respect me or what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So now I don't have respect for you.
Yeah.
So
And
however I respond, that's how I respond.
yeah, and it makes it hard for me to even talk to my own father. And I hate to kind of put this type of information out there because it's personal, but my father's with the Moorish Science Temple of America, and he's constantly saying, I want you to become a sheikh. I want you to become a sheikh. Like, I won't even make a phone call to him because of this constantly you throwing your faith or your belief in my face. Like, dude, whatever happened to, hey, how you doing? The sun came up over here today. It came up over there. Where you living at? Like, whatever happened to?
I used to get a lot of
You know,
those messages from
it's
people, too, and I straight
annoying.
up
Look, and see, that's why I have to give my mother the utmost respect, because she always taught us to, you're going to find your own path.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for me to tell you, but you're going to, my mother, big Bible reader, knows the Bible backwards and forwards. She can quote a scripture out of that book and tell you where to find it and what line and all of that. Okay. But when I told her, when we was having that conversation on the phone, and I told her, oh, Mom, the Bible is just a bunch of stories that's pretty much similar, but it just put a different name up there and say, this person said it. And she was like, what? Who told you that? It's not like she got angry at me for what I said, or she tried to beat it into my head that, no, the Bible's here, the Bible, nope. She just said, well, okay, if that's what you came up with and that's how you feel, then, so be it.
Exactly.
She didn't get mad. She didn't even now if I talk to her on the phone, she won't, that's not like her top conversation.
Right.
Have you rethought of how you feel about the Bible? Blah, blah, blah. No, she she took it as, okay, that's Stephanie, and okay.
Right.
I'm not going, that's her. That's how she feel. That's what she believe. All right, then so be it.
Exactly.
And I don't knock her for believing in that book. My mother, church, no. My mother is, no, was never a believer in that. But that book, oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't knock my mother for that, because, hey, if that's where she feels she's getting her, fulfillment of a higher learning, so be it. That's not for me to tell her it's wrong.
Exactly.
My twisted sense of humor and my inability to stay awake is the reason why I couldn't be in the church anymore. Because I would definitely fall asleep being in the church and have a very twisted sense of humor. So if I see someone catch what they call their Holy Ghost, I will be in there on the floor with that person who has caught the Holy Ghost. The only difference is I will be laughing.
Oh my goodness.
You've been to church.
I have to.
How do you
Life
feel about
is-
that? You catch anything?
And just to that I don't belong in there. I mean, that was what I learned of it. Like I understood how the preacher moved the people. I understood like certain stuff he did to sway the people, and I just figured I could do it myself under my own belief. And I like, because to me, if your belief is set to where you get to a point to where you can't learn anymore spiritually, like you feel like this is the end be all in my spirit, and I can't push past this.
Right.
I mean, I could play ping pong with you, spirit versus belief. I mean, faith versus belief wise, but if I can't change you to want to learn, change your belief to want to learn more, it's just I remove myself then, because I'm not about to be just looking at a wall.
Right.
Talking
to a wall.
Yeah, talking to a wall. If you don't
Yeah.
want to.
People could be like that. Like once you see, okay, I see you have different beliefs than I do, so I'm not going to continuously bring this to you or try and force this upon you. I wish that more religious people could be like that, because I don't knock your religion. You believe what you want to believe. You do what you do. But at the end of the day, once I let you know that that's not for me, that should be it.
Yeah.
There should be no, oh, but you should. This is why you should. No, this is why you about to get punched in the face, because I done already told you I don't care.
But you know something though? It's funny because for the first time in my entire life, I ran into a preacher, and I told you about him, the guy that's at my job, the Jamaican guy that's at my job. I ran into a preacher who literally accepted me for what I learned. Like, okay, when he said, look at God. When things were happening for me, like when I finally got my book into the publishing company, he was like, look at God, and I'm like, hold on. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, God made that happen for you. I was like, no, he didn't. And he was like, what? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, how can you say that? It was like, that's not my belief. I don't believe in God. I don't believe that is how things are happening for me. I did this on my own, not some being that I've never seen before or that has no particular existence. He was like, what? He's like, hold on. So then he started asking me questions about the things that I do, the things that I believe in, and things of that nature. And then he got very intrigued. And he was like, wow. He was like, okay. He said, I would like to learn a lot more about that. He said, because I've never heard that concept before. So we exchange now, even to this day, we exchange information, things that we've learned, and we're on this basically a spiritual journey where he's learning different things from me, and he's also taking these things back to his church, because he was telling me about the different sessions that they were having and how the people were responding to it.
Right.
And I just thought that it was pretty cool that finally somebody would look at it from a different point of view, as opposed to being headstrong about, oh, it's just about God and nothing else.
Well, it's called doing your homework.
I
Period.
appreciated him and like that.
But see, in a way, you kind of gotta hold those who keep putting out there, this is how you should be, this is what you're supposed to believe in, da 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 da. Kind of gotta hold them accountable, because they keep browbeating it, per se, and it's not encouraged to actually do research. That's not encouraged. It's you congregate into this building. Everybody listens to one person, and that's it.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't understand that concept. That's a concept that I don't understand.
Well, it's funny too because in the ancient knowledge, not only in esoteria, but also in the ancient Mayans, the Egyptians, like all the people that were even here before them, they stated that the body is a temple, and that concept was also adopted into the religious faith that we know today, that the body is the temple. So in knowing that, if the body is the temple, then why do we need to gather as a group of people inside of a building when the ancients never did that? They gathered in nature.
Well, according to that book that they believe in, you're not supposed to do that either.
I mean, it's just
Where they say, but this is written in their book though. I believe it's Mark, or it could be Matthew. I'm not for certain. I'm not like my mom. I don't know it like that. But it specifically says, you know how they call church the house of God?
Mm-hmm.
Wrong, because according in their book, it clearly says, how can you build God a house for the earth is his footstool?
Mm-hmm.
So how could that be considered that? How is that? How does that happen? How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to understand because it's so many hyperboles in that book
Right.
that people take as actual fact. It's a hyperbole. People look it up in case you don't know the definition of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get it.
They could be talking about the house pertaining to the effects of the church itself, like the power of the church being one
Okay,
house.
it's Acts 7:9. Say, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool.
There you go. Right. So, how you building the house? I'm just saying, like, how does that happen? How does that work?
Okay, based off
Seriously, like, I don't understand how people don't thirst to want to know more.
Yeah, well.
I don't
Because
get
they
that.
have a bunch of one-sided information.
Well, but
I think they
then
don't know
again,
who knows more.
Right,
But
that too.
why does it
that
have
too,
to be
but,
the who?
but don't
Why
forget.
can't it be yourself? Why
Yeah,
can't
but
you?
don't forget about fear. You got to remember the whole control thing when it came to the fear. How people were controlled by fear, especially like when certain religions, I'm not gonna say, started. They started off with that whole war, and they won the war, and then they forced the people to believe in what they believed in.
Yes, and really pissed
And
me
then
off on that.
all of that
Wow.
was a trickle down effect because it was passed on from one generation to the next
Yep.
generation, and
Yep,
now
yep.
it holds strong. All started with fear, but people don't know that because they're not looking at the homework and they're not looking to be 100% truthful about what they're believing in.
I may disagree just I don't know on the part where it started with fear, because I think, like I said, it's faith, belief, ping pong in me. If your faith can sway my belief towards your father.
What if
But we're looking at a different generation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If violence was used
Right,
as a means of persuasion,
right. We're looking at a whole
then,
different generation.
and
now.
that's actual fact.
But-
violence was used as an actual form of persuasion to force people into accepting it, believing it, and it was passed down from generation to generation to generation, which is how it grew.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but why do I want to be a part of something that was based on that? Why do I want to even embrace that?
Exactly.
I don't care how holiness you claim it is to be. The fact that it was founded on fear and bloodshed, I want no parts of that.
Exactly.
I could care less. I really could.
Because if we never go back to the origin of how these things actually started, then one, how do we understand if this is something that we want to be a part of or not?
Right. And
You know
don't and for those who actually, after, if you watch this or you listen to this and you go and you do a little research or whatever, don't make excuses. Don't say, well, that's how it was then, it's not like that now, because that's a lie. That's a lie. I don't like that part.
It's just
I
a
don't
different
like
way
when,
of doing it now.
right.
versus
I don't like
back
when people put, try to gloss over,
then.
a terrible act that took place, and just because it was then and it's not now, that made it any less terrible.
Yeah.
You know, so don't do that. Accept it for what it is and what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think most people have a substitution once they like. That's why I think a lot of people don't know who to listen to, and I think it's good that people talk about it like we doing.
Mm-hmm.
But even like it's not even enough people who talk about these kind of situations out
And
there
that's the sad part.
for them to.
That's sad because either they're afraid of what the other may think, or they're afraid because they feel like, the outcome, they won't be accepted for however they think or feel. Like I said, I don't care what you believe in, what you put your faith in, or I don't care. All I care about is you having that mutual respect for me and what I put my faith in, what I hold true in within myself. Long as we have that mutual respect, hey, do what you do.
Yeah. And I honestly like it's just me, but I really like to have conversations with people. Like, for example, my niece believes in the Jehovah's Witnesses, and she and we actually were able to sit down for hours and talk about the things that we learned and the way that we believe in it, and see each other's point of views, and still parted on mutual terms.
And that's how it's supposed to be. It
You know,
don't have to be,
and I
I
like
want
those
to
types
rip
of
your head
conversations,
off.
because I get to understand why she believes in what she believes in, and how strong her faith is in that. I get to see that, and I be trying to understand like other people's point of views, but then the people get so angry with you not believing in what they believe in. Then they start throwing all this blasphemy out and all of these accusations and saying all these negative words, and it's like, hold on.
Like calling.
When I first started talking to you, this wasn't that. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's
And
okay as long
secondly,
as you was
I'm
listening to
not
them, but
right.
when you tried to express how
Exactly.
what you believed, how you felt,
Right.
all of a sudden, because he's not saying what I'm on, I don't want to hear it.
And secondly, I'm not going to keep accepting you throwing your judgment at me, your accusations, your negative wording toward me. I'm not going to keep accepting that like it's okay to accept that. No.
That's why I say
That's
that.
no.
I will say it to you respectfully once. After that, I don't care how it comes out. Because I gave you the courtesy of giving you that respect.
Right.
You're not giving me the courtesy of giving me that same respect. So, okay.
And see,
That word is out the window.
I love the open dialogue, because the open dialogue is what allows us to be able to grow
And
as a
understand.
people. Right.
Understand. If you're not, like we talked about in the previous segment, open mind,
Mm-hmm.
you're not open-minded enough to hear another person's perspective, their point of view, their concept, whatever word you want to call it, how do you expect to grow? How does that work?
And a lot of people don't understand that when you refuse to accept the understanding of another person's point of view, you also refuse to grow. You refuse in that. And true, don't get me wrong, you have the right to refuse that. That's up to you. But me as a person that loves growth, I can't stand around and watch you do that. I can't stand around and
And
watch you
again,
do that.
nobody said that you have to agree, but you can also walk away with agreeing to disagree
Right.
without anybody, catching feelings and getting all in they,
And that also is a part of the whole religion versus faith. That's also a part of that, is to be able to have an open dialogue with one another, see another person's point of view, and you walk away with your point of view, they walk away with their point of view, and there's no negative connotations between the two people.
Right.
But there's a lot of people don't know how to like communicate with someone without judging or without calling them wrong. Like you can't tell someone they're wrong and expect them to kind of listen to you fully, because like that's a judgment in itself. Or even saying you're right in whatever they say. Like you can say you're right and not say they're wrong, and they will assume you're calling them wrong just off how you assert yourself.
Doesn't that have to do with
but,
them?
But I think because I think there's a way to communicate with people without judging them or without calling them wrong, and I always try to work on it every day. That's why I always I always try to watch what I like.
Yeah.
I'm in
what I
agreement
say.
with that. I do too.
Well, I'm
And how I judge people and
watch
how
what
I come
say.
off. Because I want them to learn, but I don't want to seem like I'm right, and I don't want them to seem like that I'm trying to call them wrong.
You don't want to seem condescending.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll deliver it in a way to where we're both learning. That's why I always tell people, like the wisest people in the world know they don't know nothing. Like no one knows nothing. But if you explain that to someone from the beginning, every conversation after that, it's like, it's free. Because we can blabble off and in the end, I can relate back to when I said, oh, well, we all don't know nothing.
See, that's your way, but for me, it's like when I sit there, when I'm standing there or sitting with whichever environment we're in, when I talk to the people and I'm listening to what they're saying, and especially because the amount of knowledge that I hold, I have heard a lot of things that people have said before, and I'd be like, got you. I see your point, and I've learned about that. I say, but on my end, what I've done is I went and researched that information, and this is what I found. That's the way that I bring it to them, because I don't want to seem condescending, because my intent is not to be condescending, because I don't look at it as you're wrong, you shouldn't believe this, you shouldn't believe that. I just think that they should take it a step further. That's how I feel. Take it a step further than what you learned.
Well, and see that I communicate completely different than you two. I do. I have a 3-second rule. You get to the point within 3 seconds, or
That's
my
true,
brain
Dre.
clicks off.
That's true, Dre.
You no longer have my attention.
As far as
That's
me,
just it. I mean, if you can't get to the meat of it within 3 seconds, my brain is let up.
Mhm.
You sound like the Charlie Brown teacher voice to me after that. I can't do it. I can't. But then that's just me again, my flaw. If you go back to our other segment on, reflections of each other. Patience is a big thing I have one.
Right.
as far as me, I let the person talk first so I could get a feel for their intellect, so I would know how to talk to them, basically. So yeah, I let them, say what they say, so I can
So you
understand.
gauge the conversation.
Yeah, I like to observe, so I like to get a feel for what your intellect is, so I know at what level I can actually communicate with the other person.
See, so the four of us each have different forms of how we communicate.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
4 different people, 4 different ways of communicating. Doesn't make either one wrong. It's just what works for them.
Right.
So if we can do that, why can't other people do that as far as any other,
Yeah.
topic,
Right.
no matter what it is?
Right.
And yeah, is it always going to be calm? No.
Yeah.
Because we get into some heated debate that y'all don't see, but at the end of the day, we just, if we can't come to a consensus, we just walk away and agree to disagree. But no one is mad at the other. No one is calling the other name. That it's just it's kind of fun, especially with this one, because wow. But it's in this one. I will go with these two in a heartbeat. Like, come on. But at the end of the day, we still have a mutual respect for each other.
Yes.
And I learned a lot from listening to him. I learned a lot from listening to him. So it's
And
like,
vice versa.
it's at the end of the day, as long as I can get something out of it, hey, well, I don't care how it goes, as long as I'm getting something out of it. But it should be like that, period. It shouldn't be all this conflict and animosity and, shouldn't be all that.
Hey, Dre is funny. He said, first off, he said he's proud of you too. And he said, my niece and nephew have no choice. This is my brother. This is my brother, Dre. But that's what's up, Dre. Yeah, no choice but to grow. He said the sky's the limit for you too.
And if you got this guy as a dad and this lady here, you're right, you have no choice. You know what they say, when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up? Yeah, that's where I'm at.
There's no
So-
room to be stagnant, people. Stop being mundane is so
Outdated.
beyond outdated. To be stagnant, you might as well just dig your hole and just fall in it and have somebody throw the dirt on you. Because that's the life. Stagnant life is when you don't allow yourself to have room to grow. That's a stagnant, mundane life. Who wants that? Who would in their right mind be content with that? I mean, if that's how you are, okay. But for the rest of us who are still trying to grow and evolve and, ascend, get out of the way. That's all I got to say about that. Just get out the way.
So, thank you all, definitely, for partaking in another show, Perspectives.
Yes, we appreciate
religion versus belief versus faith. I would greatly appreciate all of your participation, your support, and things of that nature. And please continue to follow us on our Facebook page, Perspectives, and definitely join the group. We definitely appreciate all comers. We are also looking to expand our platforms.
And we're on Spotify now, y'all, just to let y'all know.
And again, please feel free to list a topic that you would like for us to give perspective on, as well as yourself. Please feel free. We do not judge. We accept all.
Yes.
Just keep it respectful. That's all we ask. Keep it respectful.
Yes.
But yes. Thank you all.
And
join us tomorrow. Open discussion, open topic.
Yes.
That's where we're laid back. Laid back Sunday is what we like to look at it as.
Yes.
So if I'm eating, hey, I'm laid back Sunday. So hey, but yes, please join us tomorrow. Join us tomorrow for our open topics. Feel free to join in. Engage. We like that.
Yes.
So until tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
4 o'clock.
So thank you, peeps.
Yes. Keep it
cool.
Keep it classy.
Keep it real.
Most of all, keep it respectful. Good day.
Peace. Peace.